"Sweetheart, can you move? This seat's for paying customers." The waitress did not even look up from her notepad as she brushed past the young woman sitting quietly in the corner booth of a downtown Washington cafe. Whispers swirled like cigarette smoke through the air, sharp, lingering, and heavy with judgment. The woman was strikingly beautiful. Her dark hair flowed past her shoulders, her chestnut eyes focused only on the untouched coffee in front of her. Her figure drew eyes, curves that seemed designed for a magazine cover, but her clothes were plain. No makeup, no purse, just a worn-out hoodie, faded jeans, and silence. She had been there for over an hour, and nobody knew who she was. "I think she's just waiting for someone who's never coming," chuckled a man in a golf shirt to his buddy across the table. "Probably another Instagram model trying to get free Wi-Fi." Several others laughed under their breath. She did not react. She sat still, like someone used to being underestimated. Then the door opened. It happened fast, but the energy shifted immediately. Into the cafe walked a figure of absolute authority, General Raymond Thomas Adler, 4 stars shining on his uniform, followed closely by 2 junior officers. Everything about him spoke of power, duty, and respect earned over decades of service. He scanned the cafe without stopping, ignored the stares, and walked with direct purpose. He walked straight to her. No words at first. Just the sound of polished boots on tile. Then, to the astonishment of every person in the room, General Raymond Thomas Adler stopped in front of her table and saluted. "Captain Sierra Nova," he said, loud and clear. "It is an honor." The cafe fell silent. She stood slowly, with fluid strength, and returned his salute perfectly. Not a flinch, not a tremor, just the poise of a soldier trained under fire. "Sir," she replied, voice clear and composed. The silence broke like shattered glass. Eyes widened, forks dropped. Someone whispered, "She's a captain." General Raymond Thomas Adler turned to face the room. "This is United States Army Captain Sierra Nova. She served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. During the Kandahar ambush of 2021, she led a combat medic unit that saved over 70 lives in one night. She was wounded in the process. She refused extraction. Instead, she dragged 3 soldiers through live fire and stabilized them under cover. For that, she received the Silver Star and the Distinguished Service Cross." Gasps swept across the cafe like wind. "She is one of the finest officers I have ever had the privilege to command," he continued, "and today she walks into this cafe, and not one of you saw her." The waitress stepped back, hands shaking. The men who had laughed looked down in shame. Captain Sierra Nova did not look angry. She simply stood tall, like she always had. "I came today," the general said, "to personally invite Captain Nova to speak at the United States Military Academy at West Point. We want future cadets to hear from someone who knows courage, not just commands it." Someone in the back clapped. Slowly, then another, and then the cafe filled with a rising tide of applause, not casual but reverent. The waitress returned, eyes glassy, barely whispering, "I am so sorry, ma'am. I had no idea." Captain Nova gave a small, kind smile. "It is all right. That is why I stayed quiet." The general gave a final nod of respect, then turned to go. As he left with his officers, Captain Nova slipped her hoodie over her shoulder, nodded once to the stunned crowd, and walked toward the exit with grace. Outside, passers-by paused at the sight of the decorated general holding the door for a young woman in jeans, while people inside stood in stunned silence. The man in the golf shirt leaned toward his friend, face pale. "I think we were the nobodies. Because beauty may turn heads, but character earns respect. And sometimes the strongest warriors walk unnoticed, bearing scars you cannot see. So, never judge by appearances. True strength walks quietly, and the greatest soldiers may look like ordinary people, until the world is reminded of what they have given." Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.